Hello everyone, my name is Michael Schofield, and today I'm going to be talking about Kathy Griffin, or rather more in general, the issue of free speech, hate speech, where we draw the line. Kathy Griffin has been pretty much universally condemned, even the people on her side, generally Democrats, CNN types, people on that side of the political divide of that ilk, even comedians have been roundly criticising her. Of course, there will be many people who like what she did. It wasn't too long ago when I was sitting on the bus, a couple of people were talking about how much they would love to kill Trump. So of course, she will have her many supporters. The issue here is, it obviously seems bad, we're of course talking about Kathy Griffin holding up the decapitated head of one Donald J. Trump, the current president. Is that just a joke? Is it just fun? I'm a big fan of the Opie and Anthony show, and anybody who knows that show will know how rough comedy can get. And I think comedy should be rough. I think we should push the boundaries. We all we look for jokes in the worst of situations, we look for them in nice situations, but I think as adults our brains will concoct all kinds of things, all kinds of insults, all kinds of things that you wouldn't vocalise sometimes, but they're there nevertheless. Now, do we ignore them or do we look to own them? I think it helps generally in society if we look to push things forward, if we don't dumb things down, if we say, okay, alright, these thoughts are in my brain, let's be offensive, let's try to make some sort of intelligent version of the comedy out of this, try to make some sort of point maybe, and you can also be silly as well, because some silly comedy is actually quite well done. Any comedy can be good. Point is, overall, that yes, you should push the limits. Absolutely push the limits. Kathy Griffin, she didn't actually think that she was pushing the limits too much, I bet. Because there's such a feeling that you can criticise Trump, that he is liable to death threats, that he's made himself such a target that you can criticise the guy with no comeback. Free speech means that you should criticise the hell out of whoever you deem to be worthy of your criticism. Does it mean that you can hold up a head? I'd say yes. I'd say actually, it might come as a surprise, yes you can. You can hold up a head for all kinds of things. You can wish death on people, you can say it without it automatically meaning you want them dead. Did Kathy Griffin organise any particular death wish or any particular way that she wanted Trump to be killed? No. If you really pushed her, would she really want him in the guillotine? Here's hoping she'd say no. The big asterisk, though, to all of this and why Kathy Griffin is fundamentally wrong is that with her close ties to CNN, the mainstream media. She's not on the O&A show, she's not on the Howard Stern show, she's not on a podcast, she's not in some arena where you are expecting a type of humour and a type of comedy, and this is where locker room banter does actually make sense. If you are in a certain situation, you should expect a certain comedy, and it will be rough and it will be tough. But as I said before, they help unite us. Some rough and tough comedy helps unite people. Teenagers upwards, there will always be plenty of people who enjoy that sort of comedy. So you run with it, you make the best of it, see how well you can actually produce the offensive comedy. Right, so that's not going away anytime soon, nor should it. Her issue is it was mainstream. This is going out to crazies, it's going out to impressionable people who are not tuning in for a comedy show. They're not in the locker room environment. They're not in an environment where they can handle it. There'll be some very deranged people out there. But again, coming back around, does that then mean we shouldn't have video games? Because some people play them, and I think there was a Manhunter game a few years ago, and someone actually properly copied that and killed people. Like GTA as well. I'm sure some people go out and copy the things they see on GTA. Video games are amazing, overwhelmingly a force for good. Some drawbacks, but a force for good overall, but that's another video. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should stifle everything, because some crazies will see it and then will lose their mind. The point is intention. You play a video game, it's clearly fantasy. The point is, it's a video game, Whereas she, whilst you would think a fantasy, she is setting up this system with no context given, nothing other than we assume she's a comedian, not very funny, but she says she's a comedian, but there was nothing, just the image. If she'd captioned it with something else, if she'd tried to put it into some sort of context, because context matters so much. Right, I could just go like that. What does that mean? Out of context? What am I wishing death on you, or am I wishing death on me? What is a line through? What am I saying there? There's nothing to it. You need context with anything you do. And the context doesn't just mean the context from the person putting out the content. The context is the whole issue with it. And the whole issue with this is that it was not a game. There was no comedic value wrapped in it other than she is apparently a comedian, but she's now with CNN. She's been fired since. So that it's not an innocent area where you can just put it into the area of offensive comedy, even though of course many of her supporters and sympathisers with the anti-Trump cause will go that way. Which I want to be understood. I understand that within the right context. Within your living room, within a comedy show, stand-up routine, with people of like-minded people who you understand each other's comedy. You don't go up to a stranger and start with your stand-up routine of offensive jokes. You know, context, audience, context is king, is paramount, it's your version of events, it's the audience's understanding of events, of what you're talking about. Absolutely everything matters with the whole context, and there is a responsibility there. Kathy Griffin doesn't seem like the most intelligent of people to me. Something about the look in her eyes, I can't sing and I can't dance, but I can generally have a decent idea of how people are on the intellectual spectrum. I don't think she's all there. I don't think she's particularly great, as we saw with her recent apology video. Complete PR own goal. That's not going to give her anything. Some people who already agreed with her might like it. Oh, she's crying. But to people who are on the fence, certainly people who are against her, they'll just think, well, this completely pushes her off the deep end because she clearly doesn't mean it. Crocodile tears, and then to throw it back onto Donald Trump. It's Trump's fault. Yeah, and we're not buying that, Kathy. That's not going to work. Ridiculous. You don't throw out an apology when you don't mean it. Just what she should have done is said, all right, I got the context wrong. I didn't think everything through fully. I didn't think of little Baron with a family. I didn't think of it was the wrong area to do that, and there might be some extremists out there saying, oh look, hey, mainstream media are saying it. That's an idea, decapitate a head. I wonder how we could come by that in the future. And she should have just said, I got the context wrong. My feelings for Trump don't change, but I got the context of what I was doing badly wrong, and I do regret that. Don't say you regret the anti-Trump sentiment, because she obviously doesn't. She probably never will. And this is why we haven't had a huge outcry from the progressives on this sort of issue. They're not going crazy on this. And not saying too much with the recent Bill Maher N-word controversy as well. Isn't it funny how we go along with people who we agree with pretty much no matter what they do? I'm sure I'm guilty of it at times. I try to be analytical, but if there's someone who we like and they're saying certain things that we agree with, boy do we cut them some slack. And we need to be a bit more analytical. I'm not saying that we should just, if someone who we like says something we disagree with or which is deemed awful, that we should just completely shun them, as some people do. That's also equally stupid. But we should criticise or praise everybody depending on whatever they are doing in a particular circumstance. No one is immune to criticism. Harsh vitriol. Give the abuse back. If people are deserving it, you give them hell as much as you will praise the hell out of people when they deserve it. That goes quite a long way to producing some sort of a meritocracy, I would have thought. Kathy Griffin, not the brightest spark, not the shiniest star in the heavens. She completely misread it. She, like a certain fraternity that we're seeing in certain Hollywood circles where they just think they have complete free reign on Trump, whereas people didn't have any sort of half reign on Barack Obama that would automatically be racist or deplorable. Whereas Trump, there's complete free reign because of apparently the bad things that he does. There can be all kinds of opinions about everything Donald Trump does. He's obviously far from a saint. I think we all know that. I think even Trump knows that. Even he admitted that. So he should be criticised strongly. Holding up a head when you're a mainstream figure in an area that is not a radio show, it's not a comedy show, there's more responsibility there. You've got to add context, Kathy. You know, there's got to be something more. She didn't add anything. She just thought because she's a comedian that she could just do what she likes. Well, she's found out that even in the land of the free, greatest free nation on earth, undoubtedly America, there still are certain restrictions, there still are certain standards. Bloodied graphic head of your leader. Wow, most of history, you would really be in trouble. Some sort of treason. But hey, we're in strange times. Do it on a comedy show, Kathy. Give it some context. Or just don't do it.